Raising kids who own their mistakes, not hide from them. Accountability isn't something that is as often pushed today, particularly societally. This is something that, as you can see in TV shows, in the news, in pop culture and social media in particular, accountability isn't a focal point, isn't something that is pushed in the mainstream. What is currently pushed in the mainstream is blame, victimhood, and a victim mentality, lack of responsibility and ownership, and no accountability. People seem to teach that because they're angry or upset or hurt, that it gives them a green light to act terribly to someone or to hurt someone or to act out of that feeling. The feeling makes sense. Wanting to act out of that makes sense. The reason behind it makes sense. But then doing it is a different thing. That's where our responsibility kicks in. We are responsible for what we do, not what happens to us. What happened to us is outside of our control. Teaching your kids this is so crucial. Teaching your kids that what happens to them is not their fault, but what they get to do after that is their responsibility is incredibly important. To do this, you will show them that their burdens are only their own. They don't need to carry anyone else's. It's not their responsibility, and that will lead to healthier relationships and healthier kids, and then healthier adults. The damages of the current state of lack of ownership, responsibility, and accountability leads to no growth, leads to regression, leads to a childish way of living life. A eye for an eye, they got to do it, so why don't I get to do it? Or they did this to me, so I did that back to them. That's a childish way to live your life. And that's a way that you may feel justified in the moment, but that's a way that only hurts you in the long run. You may feel justified, and maybe it was deserved, whatever you did back to that person. But that still hurts you because you're the person that's responsible for how you act. No one else is. If you teach your kids that, or if you allow your kids to be taught that or to practice that, then they will grow up thinking that that's okay. And if they see you do that, that'll be their biggest catalyst to reenact that. I know for me, I don't want my kids to be a victim forever. I want my kids to be strong internally in the way they view the world and the way they view themselves. I want them to be sure in themselves and how they carry themselves in relationships and in society, in their jobs, in their passions throughout their life. Not teaching them accountability means that they will not feel strong within themselves. They will not be sure of themselves or have as much self-belief. You are protecting them from growth. You are hiding them from opportunity to grow. And that's not a fair thing to do. Growth requires pain. Growth requires stretching and doing more than what we were previously able to do, trying. If we sit in our comfort zone, there's no way to grow. If we don't own anything, if we don't take responsibility for anything, there's no way that we can learn to be responsible for anything. How would we be able to look after people when we're older, or look after ourselves, or look after projects in a job, projects in your work, in your career, be part of a team? How could you do any of that? You would just be at the mercy of life and circumstance and other people. You'd be at the mercy of it because you allow that to change how you act, to change how you react. And that's something we need to teach our kids not to do. Whereas teaching them accountability allows them to grow, to get those reps in, to be responsible for something, to not be responsible for too much, but just enough. And the perfect amount, which is what they do. If they are responsible for what they do, they will grow up to be responsible people. I don't think anyone goes out of their way to raise kids that other people could label as brats. They would label kids as ungrateful or rude or uncaring or lacking compassion. Ones that are irresponsible and a bad influence. Yes, our kids will go through phases and stages, just like we all have. However, the core of them is what I'm talking about. The core of who they are and how they carry themselves. It's a very presidential thing. the core of who they are and how they handle themselves and carry themselves is what's crucial. So you want to teach your kid accountability? How do you do it? Step one, show them through your example. Teach them through your example how to be accountable. Show them by what you do, what you say, and the promises you keep, how to be accountable. In no uncertain terms, this means cleaning up your own mess. If you get it wrong, if you make a bad decision, if you fly off the handle, if you lose your temper, if you say something you didn't mean, if you do something that hurts someone and it's on you, own it. Put your hand up. Sorry I yelled a second ago, guys. I'm really frustrated at the moment. But me yelling, that's on me. I apologize for that. You can still have the lesson and the teaching of, hey guys, I really need us to be quieter. If I'm on the phone, don't speak over me. It's frustrating to try and have a conversation when you guys are yelling over the top of people. It's not cool. Don't do that anymore, please. That's fine. You can have that teaching moment, but you can also pick up your mess. You can also pick up what you've done wrong. You break a promise, or you forgot about something that was important to the kids. Own it. I'm really sorry, mate. I didn't mean to do that. I totally overlooked it. Sorry about that. That means more to them than going, oh, well, mate, you didn't put it in my calendar, so, I couldn't really. Don't pass the blame. Step two, don't pass the blame. Don't pass off the blame. Don't pass off what's yours. Don't ignore the responsibility that is clearly yours. Don't let your pride get in the way for your ability to be growing, to your ability to be a better example for your kids or those around you. If you're the leader of a team, show them. Don't let your pride get in the way. Make yourself more approachable. You are approachable. You make mistakes. You get it wrong. You get it right, but you own it regardless. That's so important. Show them that. So lead them through your example. Show them how it's done. When they get it right, you handle it with grace. When you get it wrong, you handle it with grace and you own it. You're accountable. You made a mistake, that's the consequence. That's it. Show them that it's not scary to be accountable. If you come down on yourself really hard and you go, man, I'm the worst dad ever, this is terrible, I'm the worst guy I've ever known, blah, 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 in front of your kids, they're going to think that taking accountability means you beat yourself up as well, that you get a few shots in just before the dust settles. Don't show them that. Don't teach them stuff that's unhealthy. So that means you got to treat yourself with respect and you got to treat yourself better too. Be the example that you wanted to have. Be the example that maybe you did have. Take the bits that were great and apply them. Grow the things that you've never had. It's tough, but it's worth it. And you got to do it. Alternatively, we don't. We don't grow. We're not accountable. And our kids pick up on that anyway. What would you rather them pick up on? That you're a person that tries, that gets it wrong sometimes, that gets it right sometimes, but you're consistent and you're responsible and you keep your promise as best you can and you try and you're trying to grow. You intend to do your best. Or that you avoid blame, you avoid ownership and accountability, and it's always someone else's fault. It's never your fault. What would you rather your kids learn? And how would you prefer them to act in the future? Keep boundaries. If you make a boundary with your kids, enforce them. Doesn't have to be with an iron fist. You don't have to be heartless. You don't have to be careless, but they need to be enforced. If you put in a boundary, it needs to be followed through on. If you say that if they continue to do this and you've warned them and you go, all right, guys, that's your last chance. If you do this, this is the consequence. Do you realize that? Yes, Dad, I realize that. Okay, sure thing. And they do it again. That's what the boundary is. That's what the consequence is. Show them that your boundary means something. Show them that your word means something, and show them that it's not something that they can just agree to and then turn their back on, that you're just going to give them a pass every single time. Because they're not going to respect your boundaries in the future. They're just going to do whatever they wanted to do because there's no consequences. Because Dad says something, but he doesn't really mean it. Because Mum said something, but she'll let me off the hook. She'll let me get away with it. That's something that is not going to help you and is not going to help your kids. Because why would they respect boundaries in the future, in relationships, in friendships, in work, in social life, in anything? You're their first examples for this too. Mum and Dad say something and that's what they mean. You don't have to be a dictator about it. You can just be like, sorry guys, I said this. I told you this would be the consequence. You kept going. Now we're here and we've got to deal with the consequences. Show them that decisions have consequences. If they decide to do something, there is a consequence for it, a positive and a negative. The positive might be, I got to do what I wanted to do for that split second. The negative, now I've got to pay for it. Now I've got to deal with that issue. Now I've got to deal with the consequence and the punishment for that behavior. The next one, give them responsibility. If we allow our kids to be responsible for things, it shows them the value of being accountable, of having ownership, of being in charge of something, and to be in charge of that thing doing well or not. If you give them accountability, if you give them ownership through something, through giving them a responsibility, through giving them something that they have to follow through on, you're teaching them that. You're teaching them something. If you give them a chore, that's their chore. If they don't do it, there's a consequence. It could be as simple as they're in charge of unloading the dishwasher, in charge of folding their clothes, in charge of washing their clothes, in charge of cooking dinner for the night. Maybe on Wednesday nights, your eldest kid makes dinner. It's the night that you're coming home later from work or whatever it may be, and they're in charge of cooking for the whole family. So that means they've got to sort out meat, veg, dethawing something, chopping vegetables, seasoning, etc. And obviously you teach them along the way, but when it comes time to give them that responsibility, they're in charge. And everyone has to deal with that. And they have to deal with that too. And if they mess around with those boundaries and that ownership that they've got, that accountability and responsibility they've now got, there will be consequences for that. And sometimes it's a tough lesson for us too, because it may affect us. It might be like, sorry guys, we don't have dinner tonight. So we're just going to go toast with such and such because Olivia didn't make dinner tonight. There's consequences to actions. If you've got younger kids, teach them by simple things and give them responsibility that you're okay with them having. Don't give them too much if you don't think they're capable of it yet. Start small and incrementally. Don't give them too much responsibility for where they're at. You're conscious of how your kids are. You're conscious of where they are developmentally, responsibility-wise. So work with them. Go at their level. So, for example, if I wanted to go to a park with the kids, and there's plenty to do at the park, but there's a cool little bike track, all the kids are keen. But I say to them, you need to bring your bike, or if you don't have your helmet, for this example, if you don't have your helmet, you can't ride your bike. And you give all the kids the same responsibility and you check with them. Guys, do you understand that you need to be the one to bring your bike? Yes. Do you understand that you need to bring your helmet if you want to ride your bike and you're not riding without it? Yes. They get distracted along the way, that's on them. But when it's time to leave, you leave. And if they forget their helmet, unfortunately, they just can't do that at the park. They can do other things at the park, but that's the consequence of their actions. That was their responsibility. And if they choose not to use that, and if they choose not to follow through on that, there is a natural consequence for that. You didn't bring this, so you miss out on that. It's simple. But these reps over time, along with your example and all the other things that you're teaching them that we're talking about, it shows up in the kids. And you will teach them how to become more responsible and more accountable as kids and adults. You'll find out that you've got pretty mature little kids, that they understand, that they accept things easier. That it's not just, Mum, Dad, can we go home and get my helmet? Sorry, mate. That's the boundary. I told you what it was. I told you where the goalpost was. I told you that there'd be a consequence, and I told you there'd be a reward. You chose the consequence. Unfortunately, that's just where we are. We're going to have a best time that we can at the park anyway. I've mentioned this several times before in this episode and in previous, but the next one is teach them that they are responsible for what they do, but no more than that. Teach them that they are responsible for themselves. Full stop. Everything they say and do, that's their responsibility. You are not overloading your kids. You are not overloading them by making them responsible for anything else. You've given them a chore. You've given them responsibility. You've encouraged them in this. You've shown them boundaries. You've shown them natural consequences. You've shown them all those things. This teaches them that their actions, what they say and what they do, really matters. It weighs up. It adds up. And it's something that can affect their lives. We're not trying to make them responsible for the whole family. We're trying to show them that they are a part of the family, that you are a team, and that their position in the team is valuable, that their position in the team is really helpful. If that's not there, the team can function, but it's not quite as strong as it could be, and vice versa. If I'm not pulling my weight, it won't be as strong as it could be. By showing them they are responsible for themselves and to have that ownership and accountability for themselves, but not being accountable for other people and what they do, that shows them a healthy amount of responsibility. It shows them that healthy amount of accountability and not giving them something that's unrealistic and unattainable. Because we can do great and maybe be responsible for other people for a time or in circumstances, but that's something we can't control. We can't control how that person's going to react or what they're going to do or say or anything. So that's an unrealistic thing. Whereas if we just go, pick up your own mess, guys. Hey, great job. Thank you for cleaning up. Now, mate, it's your turn. You've got to do that. Or, yep, you can go ahead and do your thing, but mate, you're missing out at the moment until you fix that up, until you clean up the mess that we've talked about. That shows them that they are responsible for them. That shows these people over here that are doing the right thing, that they're not responsible for that mess, that they're not going to miss out because. Obviously, different circumstances are going to come up. TV time or whatever sort of interactions or things you've got planned as a family. That makes sense. However, as a core rule, we are teaching personal responsibility and we're not getting them to pick up anybody else's. By doing these things and by showing them what to do, by teaching them what to do and showing by your example, this will lead to more honest kids. It will lead to kids that show respect, to kids that appreciate things more. They appreciate what you've done because they might have had to do some stuff too. It's not just food magically appeared on their table. Oh my gosh, what's this magic table about? Or this plate that just births food. This is incredible. They're not going to have that grid. They're going to understand, oh, Dad cooked something really nice tonight. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate that. Oh, Dad, thanks for coming and picking us up. I know you had work today. They're going to appreciate those little things because you're showing them the value of something. Accountability and responsibility shows the value of that too. A value of the action, the thought, the follow through. The value of what went into those things. Hey mate, thanks very much for doing that chore. By you unpacking the dishwasher, it made my day that little bit easier. Thanks so much. Show appreciation for that too. I'll add that point. Show appreciation. When your kids do these things, show appreciation. Let them know that you see them, you see their effort, that you see they're trying. Let them know that it's not a fruitless endeavor. And hey, we don't want them to do things just for that appreciation, just for that pat on the back or that golden star. But it's a nice thing to go, thanks, mate. I appreciate what you did. I see you. So jumping back after doing that other point, all of this added up will lead to more honest kids. It will lead to a more honest relationship between you and your kids. It will also show yourself to be fair, regardless of the situation. It will also teach them to be fair. They may know that dad or mum may not give them everything they want, but they know that they're going to be fair. They know that they're going to be honest. And they know that they're going to do the thing that is in the best interest of them. And that builds trust. So teach your kids accountability. It's a life skill that they need. It's a life skill that's going to just make their lives richer. It's also going to enrich their relationships and their interactions. It's invaluable. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and I hope it's going to really help you and your family. Just recently, I hit the 20 episode mark. And that was a bit of a milestone for me, so I'm pretty stoked with that. There's plenty of other episodes to listen to. So please have a listen. There's plenty in there for parents, for people who want to lead, for people who want to grow as people of honor and integrity. And there's tools in there that could really help you and that have helped me. So I hope it helps you too. I hope you have a great week. All the best to you and your family. If you'd like to work with me, hit up my website. Contact me on social media. I hope you're doing well and I hope your family's okay. Take care. All the best.